When I bought the ranch, the realtor called it quietly defiant. 200 acres of scrub oak, open pasture, and one narrow gravel road cutting through the middle like a scar. That road ended at my gate. Or at least it was supposed to. The gate wasn't fancy. Steel bars, a heavy chain, and a weathered private property. No through-access sign that I repainted myself. I put it up after the third time I found tire tracks slicing through my pasture, spooking my horses and tearing up the grass. Ranch life teaches you early. Fences matter. The first time I saw her, I was mending a fence near the south line. A white SUV rolled up like it owned the land, crunching gravel without hesitation. She leaned out the window, sunglasses oversized, lips pinched tight. "Excuse me," she said, already annoyed. "This road is blocked." I wiped sweat off my neck. "That's because it ends here." She scoffed. "No, it doesn't. This road connects to Silver Mesa Estates. I drive through here every morning." I pointed to the sign. "Not anymore. This is my ranch." She stared at me like I'd personally insulted her bloodline. "I'm with the HOA." That was the moment I knew this wouldn't be the last conversation. 2 days later, I found the chain snapped clean through. Tire marks cut deep into the mud. My gate hung open like a broken jaw. I didn't need a camera to know who did it. I fixed it, thicker chain this time. The following week, same thing, broken again. By the third time, I installed trail cameras. That's when I caught her on video. She didn't hesitate, didn't slow down, just stepped out, glanced at the sign, and rammed the gate with her bumper until the latch gave. Then she drove through like she was late to judge someone else's lawn. I showed the footage to the sheriff. He sighed, slow and tired. "HOA disputes get messy," he said. "Document everything." So I did. I logged dates, repairs, costs, damage. I sent certified letters. I posted brighter signs. I even installed reflectors like somehow visibility was the issue. None of it mattered. Every morning at 7:12 a.m., that SUV came barreling through my land like the rules bent around her convenience. Standing at the gate one evening, holding another broken chain, I realized something important. She didn't think the gate applied to her. And that meant the next gate couldn't just close the road. It had to end it. The certified letter came back unopened. I knew because the green return receipt was blank, stapled to an envelope stamped "Refused." That told me everything I needed to know about how this was going to play out. She wasn't misunderstanding the situation. She was rejecting it. A week later, I got my first official notice from the HOA. It was printed on heavy paper, full of bold headings and legal-sounding language. According to them, the road cutting through my ranch was a historically shared access route used by residents of Silver Mesa Estates for over 15 years. Blocking it, they claimed, violated community easements and posed an inconvenience to daily commuters. Inconvenience, that word showed up a lot. What didn't show up was any proof. I called the number listed at the bottom. After 3 transfers, I landed with the HOA president. Calm voice, sharp tone. "You can't just gate off a road people rely on," he said. "I can if it's on my deed," I replied. There was a pause. Papers shuffled. "Well, one of our board members says otherwise." "Board member, of course." That night I pulled my paperwork. Deed, survey, county records. I spread them across my kitchen table like a gambler holding a winning hand. The road? Entirely on my land. No easement, no shared access, no exceptions. The next morning, I emailed copies to the HOA. 2 hours later, I got a response accusing me of altering documents. That's when things escalated. Cars started slowing near the gate. Phones came out. Someone posted photos online claiming I was blocking emergency access. Another post suggested I was hostile to the community. One comment even implied I'd threatened residents, which was news to me. And still, every morning she kept coming. I upgraded the gate again, reinforced hinges, concrete footings. A locking post sunk 3 feet into the ground. I installed a keypad, not because she had the code, but because it sent a message. This wasn't temporary. She tested it the very next day. I watched the footage that evening. She got out, yanked on the gate, kicked the post, then stood there with her hands on her hips like the land itself had betrayed her. She made a call. pointed at the camera, smirked. An hour later, an HOA lawyer emailed me. They threatened fines, lawsuits, community action. I forwarded everything to my attorney. He called me the next day, chuckling. "They've got nothing," he said. "But that won't stop them from trying." I looked out at the gate, standing solid in the late afternoon sun. For the first time, she hadn't made it through. And that's when I realized something else. Stopping her wasn't enough. If she believed rules didn't apply to her, then the gate couldn't just be stronger. It had to be undeniable. My attorney was right. The HOA had nothing solid, but he was also right about something else. People like her don't stop when they're wrong. They stop when they're unable. So I stopped thinking like a property owner and started thinking like a rancher who'd spent years keeping livestock in and trouble out. The new gate wasn't something you could buy at a farm supply store. First, I hired a local welder. Old school guy, hands like hammers, the kind who asked why only once. I showed him the footage. I showed him the damage logs. I showed him the survey maps. He grinned. "So, you want a gate?" he said, "or a statement?" "A statement," I replied. We poured concrete for 2 massive steel posts, each anchored 6 feet down. Rebar cages, industrial-grade footing, the kind of base you'd expect under a small bridge. Then came the gate itself. Solid steel tubing, internal bracing, no weak angles. It swung smooth, quiet, and heavy like it meant business. But that wasn't the real answer. The real answer went under the ground. Most people don't realize cattle guards aren't just for animals. Installed correctly, they're absolute vehicle deterrents, especially when paired with a narrow approach and reinforced side barriers. I installed one right in front of the gate. Deep pit. Hardened steel grates. No room to go around, no way to straddle it with tires. Try to cross it fast and you risk ripping out an axle. Try to cross it slow, and gravity does the rest. I added reflective warnings, posted signage approved by the county, documented everything. Legally airtight, physically unforgiving. The HOA sent another letter, this one claiming the cattle guard was dangerous. My lawyer responded with county approvals, engineering specs, and a polite invitation to file a formal complaint. They didn't. The next morning I made coffee and watched the camera feed. 7:12 a.m. on the dot. Her SUV pulled up like always. She slowed this time. You could see the hesitation. She stepped out, stared at the gate, then looked down at the cattle guard. She tried to walk across it, heels slipping between the grates. She jumped back, furious. She got in her car, revved the engine once, twice. Then she stopped. She sat there for a full minute, hands clenched on the steering wheel, before throwing the car into reverse. Gravel sprayed. She turned around and left the way she came. No broken chain, no damaged hinges, no smug drive-through, just silence. That afternoon, the HOA president called. His tone had changed. "We're reconsidering our position," he said. I leaned back, looking out at the gate standing exactly where it belonged. "Good," I replied, "because this road is closed." And for the first time since this started, it actually was. The quiet that followed was almost suspicious. For 3 mornings in a row, the camera feed showed nothing but sunrise creeping across the pasture. No white SUV, no dust cloud, no entitlement on wheels. My horses settled. The grass near the road started to recover. Even the gate seemed to stand taller, like it finally knew it had won. On the 4th day, the HOA made one last attempt. This time it wasn't a letter or an email, it was a site visit. 2 board members, the president, and, of course, her. She stood off to the side, arms crossed, jaw tight, sunglasses hiding whatever expression she thought counted as diplomacy. I met them at the gate with my attorney on speakerphone and a folder thick enough to end any argument. They started with words like community harmony and shared solutions. I responded with surveys, permits, repair invoices, and the video footage queued up on my phone. Every snapped chain, every bent hinge, every time she'd driven through like the land was hers. When the footage played, no one spoke. The HOA president cleared his throat. "It appears," he said carefully, "that there was a misunderstanding." She snapped her head toward him. "There was no misunderstanding. That road has always been—" "Closed," he interrupted. "Legally." That was the moment she realized it was over. The HOA formally withdrew their claim the next week. No easement, no fines, no lawsuit. They even paid for part of the earlier damage under a good faith resolution, which I accepted without comment. As for her, she stopped coming anywhere near my property. A neighbor later told me she now drives an extra 20 minutes every morning, winding around the long way. I imagine her grip tightening on the steering wheel every time she passes a gate that isn't hers. The ranch is peaceful again. The gate still opens. For me, my family, and the people who respect it. It swings smooth, locks solid, and guards more than land. It guards a line that shouldn't have needed defending in the first place. People like to say fences make good neighbors, but sometimes a well-built gate teaches a better lesson. She'll never open it. Enjoying this story about standing your ground when entitlement crosses the line? Tap subscribe to catch more real-world stories where boundaries are tested and defended. If this one made you nod along, give it a like and drop a comment below. What would you have done if someone kept driving through your land?